अगर आपने कभी भी एक हाईएस्ट लेवल अचीवर्स से बात करी होगी या उनके वीडियोस वगैरह को देखा होगा, आपने सुना होगा हमेशा उनको बोलते हुए द बिगेस्ट रीजन, द नंबर वन रीजन when they talk about their success is their mindset. They will always say that it is because of their mindset that they were able to achieve a lot. Now the irony is that even after human beings millions of years of existence on this planet, there are no set of rules that are available जो कि आपको सिखा सके कि how you can train your brain, how you can train your mind to achieve the best out of your brain. Think about this. Otherwise, why does it happen that there are so many talented people on this planet, so many skilled people on this planet who are not able to achieve a lot? And the biggest reason for that is there are no set of skills, there are no set of rules that are available जो कि आपको ये बता सके that how you can get the best productivity out of your brain. My name is Saurabh Bhatnagar. There was a point in time in my life in which I used to earn 500 rupees per month for more than 4 years. And then I changed my business model, I changed the things that I was doing, and in the last 4.5 years, my companies have went on to generate a revenue of over 21 crores of my own sales. Over there, I also realized that there are so many people who are just like me, who want to do more, achieve more, but they have no set path available for them. And I started with my own Saurabh Bhatnagar University, which is the internet marketing university online. And over there, there have been more than 1,000 plus students, or you can say individuals and business owners to whom I've mentored to achieve more than 6, 7, 8 and 9 figures revenue online. And in this talk of mine, I'm going to give you the strategies how you can unlock your greatest potential that can be unlocked with your brain. Now, before we come to the solution, let's talk about the problem first, because before we actually know the solution, it's so very important for us to actually identify the problem, because until and unless we know the problem, how can we come to the solution? So there are two biggest blockages, there are two biggest problems that your mind faces when it comes to, performing in the best possible way. Number one, survival over winning. Now to explain this thing to you, let me take the help of Charles Darwin, his theory of natural selection. Basically, human beings, they were not fully placed into this planet. It is said that, we have our roots going back to the apes. Now think about it. Human beings were supposed to be, these newly formed human beings, when they came onto this planet, they were the weakest creatures out of so many wild predators that were there on this planet. Now just for the survival, the biggest ability of these human beings was that how they can avoid a lot of risk and how they can avoid a lot of loss. Because these human beings, these newly placed human beings had so very little in terms of food, in terms of shelter, कि अगर उनके पास वो भी उनसे छिन गया, तो ultimately they will have no chance of survival, no chance of surviving. Think about it. So ultimately, the ones who were good at it in terms of taking less number of risk, in terms of avoiding the loss at any cost, were the ones who actually survived. And that's exactly how we have evolved as human beings. So those kind of genes have actually went ahead and come inside our body, come inside as a human nature. Think about it. That's problem number one. So basically, what happens is, as a human being, when it comes to achieving more, achieving more, it's all a game of high risk, high reward. So when it comes to achieving more, we need to take more risk. And when it comes to taking more risk, our human brain, it tells us to actually, step back, to actually avoid all the risk probabilities, avoid all the loss probabilities. And that's when we take a back seat. That's problem number one. Problem number two. I will come to the solution in a moment. Problem number two. The happy chemicals that are there inside your brain, we call it dopamine. It's there inside your brain. It's there inside every single brain. The dopamine is something that gets released inside your body every single time whenever you feel happy, whenever you feel satisfied. So every time you feel happy and satisfied, your brain, it releases these chemicals inside your brain, and that is called dopamine. Now, think about it. Right now, there are so many things that can help you achieve that dopamine hit inside your brain. You can go ahead and watch the movies on Netflix. You can go ahead and play a lot of video games. You can go ahead, play a lot of virtual reality gaming. There's so many things that are happening right now. Think about it. Think about the competition that you have. When it comes to the long-term growth, when it comes to the long-term achieving, In order to do that, you have to do a lot of work. Think about it. You have to send out a lot of cold emails, you have to do a lot of cold calling, you have to do one more sales call, you have to do one more presentation, and there's so much of work. Against that, in competition, what you have is, you have this dopamine hit in which you are playing, let's suppose, a video game. Think about a person who is playing a video game and he's going ahead and killing thousands of terrorists, thousands of pirates, just in a moment, and think about the kind of dopamine release and the dopamine hit that he's getting inside his brain. There is no competition in terms of satisfaction that you are getting, in terms of putting in the hard work, which is good, actually good for your long-term growth, versus doing the random shit. लेकिन अगेन योर माइंड इज डम, यू नीड टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस. आपके माइंड को नहीं पता है आपके लिए लॉन्ग टर्म के लिए क्या चीज़ अच्छी है. आपके माइंड को सिर्फ ये पता चलता है कि किस चीज़ को करके आपको इस समय हैप्पीनेस मिल रही है, किस चीज़ को करके आपको इस समय सेटिस्फैक्शन मिल रही है, और वही चीज़ आपको आपका माइंड करने के लिए बोलता है बार बार. एंड दैट्स द नंबर वन रीजन व्हाई you keep on checking your mobile phones for those notifications, Facebook likes, Facebook comments, because you get those dopamine hits. That's problem number 2. Now to overcome these two problems, now when we have identified these problems, now and to overcome these two problems, we will create a set of new belief systems जिसके ऊपर आज के बाद आपका माइंड काम करना स्टार्ट करेगा. एंड आफ्टर दैट आई एम गोइंग टू गिव यू माई सेट ऑफ हैबिट्स दैट्स गोना हेल्प यू इन फॉर्मिंग न्यू हैबिट्स and ultimately achieving the best out of your brain. Belief system number 1. David Goggins, who is a very famous Navy SEAL officer and is supposed to be, is called the toughest person on the planet, the kind of things that he has done. He has this rule that he calls as 40% rule. And by this 40% rule, what he says is that आपकी जो body है, आपका जो brain है, it asks you to stop every time you feel tired, every time you feel done, every time you feel exhausted. But actually, whenever your mind tells you to stop, you are actually just at 40% potential, which means आप उसके बाद भी there is more 60% that you can go ahead and achieve. लेकिन again, since your mind is trained to achieve you at every single chance in which your body can be at risk, तो जैसे आपको लगता है कि नहीं यार थक गया, अब और नहीं होएगा. Your body sends you these signals, but actually you are at 40% at that level. You can actually go ahead and do more. If you have done, let's say, 20 push-ups, you can do 25. If you have done your work till, let's say, X amount of time, you can do actually more. लेकिन again, your body says कि नहीं यार हो गया. But again, you can actually do more. That's 40% rule. So keep this thing in your mind. Rule number 1. Keep this thing in your mind when your body says, when your mind says कि यार तेरा हो गया, आज तो और नहीं कर सकता है. You are actually just at 40%. Rule number 1. Rule number 2, dopamine. How do we overcome the dopamine? There's so much of challenge how to overcome something that's giving you so much of happiness, so much of satisfaction. You have to create a new set of reward system for your brain. Only then you can overcome that. Think about it. If you can create a new reward system for the work that you are doing, for the long-term work that you are doing, maybe give yourself some brownie points. Let's suppose you like eating ice cream. Let's suppose you like eating brownies. Can you do something like this, that only and only when after you have ticked off all your work for the day, after you have ticked off all the checklist for the day, only then you are going to reward yourself with those brownies, with those ice cream, with those points, with those rewards that you have set for yourself. There has to be something for your brain to look up to feel satisfied, to feel happy. There has to be a reward system. It can be anything, but there has to be a reward system that will help you in your brain, in tricking your brain into feeling that level of happiness. That's belief number 2. Now, with the help of these two belief systems and with the set of habits that I'm going to share with you, we can actually try and do some damage in terms of achieving more potential. Let's talk about the habit, because see, after you have built your belief system, with these two habits, it's actually your daily routine, it's actually your daily set of habits that's going to define you. And that's something which is so very important to form in the right way. Because ultimately, human beings are made out of their habits. Let's talk about the habits. Number one, your why. Any human being, whenever he or she tries to do something, there is a reason behind that. There is a why behind that, why he or she starts to do something. Let's suppose you start going to a gym, or when somebody starts going to a gym, it's not because they want to get fit. Majority of them, something happens, something triggers, something like, they were ridiculed at a party. They were laughed off in front of their girl. They went to bathroom and had a look at them from the side view and they saw that tummy coming out. Something like that, something triggered. But then what happens, after that motivation gets over, after that why fades away, after some time you stop doing that activity, for example, going to the gym. So that why of yours is something that's so very critical for your achievement of things, and it has to stay in front of you all the time. You need to figure out a way in which that why of yours is always present in front of you, so that it keeps pushing you for the work that you are doing and you keep going for that. That's habit number 1. हैबिट नंबर 2, आपके माइंड के अचीवमेंट के लिए, सबसे बड़े अचीवमेंट के लिए सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है वो है आपका फोकस. अब वो फोकस कैसे आएगा? उस फोकस के लिए जो सबसे इंपॉर्टेंट चीज़ है वो है लेस डिस्ट्रैक्शंस, और आई वुड से जीरो डिस्ट्रैक्शंस. व्हेन आई एम इन माय वर्क जोन, देयर आर नो फोन कॉल्स, नो चिट चैट, नो सोशलाइजिंग, nothing at all, no WhatsApp, nothing. My phone is in the airplane mode and I'm only and only working. Again, nobody can disturb me in my work zone, and it's like zero distraction, 100% focus, and that's how I'm able to do more, unlike so many other people. That's habit number 2. Habit number 3, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. There was a point in time I was actually invited for a college workshop, and I had to take a Facebook ads presentation over there. It was like 5 to 6 years ago. And over there, I was assuming that there would be hundreds, thousands of people who will be sitting over there. But it was an optional workshop. And what I saw was, there was just one student sitting over there, the one who was organizing the event. Now again, see, I had a choice. कि यार, I can keep it as an excuse कि नहीं यार, ठीक है, nobody is there, I can just take a very random workshop quickly and just move out of it. Or I can do something and I can still give my best. So here's what I did. I did a fully packed, power-packed 4.5-hour presentation and gave my best, gave my all. Ultimately, the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. And let's suppose you are given a target of, let's say, 20 push-ups, and if you have into a habit of, let's say, giving up right over there, you're going to give up at every single place in your life. And if you don't give up at any place, you will not give up in your work, in your life, at any single place. And the same thing is right over there. The reason that I gave that presentation in front of one person is exactly the reason, I have been able to give my talks in front of hundreds and thousands of people, and today I'm giving this TEDx talk because I've always taken my work at that serious level of commitment, and that's how I go about it. Habit number 4, showing up and being accountable for your work. मैं एक बार मुंबई से गोवा जा रहा था. मेरा 7:30 बजे का एक सेशन था, वेबिनार सेशन था, एंड 6 बजे मेरे को पहुंचना था. But somehow, what happened, the flight returned back from Goa. There was some technical issue, and we landed back in Mumbai at 7:25 p.m. Again, I had a valid reason to say कि नहीं यार, आज का सेशन नहीं हो पाएगा because of this XYZ reason. At 7:25 p.m., the moment we landed, I contacted the air staff. I told them that just take care of my luggage. Of course, I knew they are gonna figure out a way to make it reach to me, right? And I rushed off the airplane, I rushed off the security line, broke all the rules over there, and straight away went to the first cafe that I saw inside the airport and took my presentation. Again, you can do something like this in which you can say that, okay, you know what, I have a very simple excuse for not doing something, and you can say that I'm not going to do it. But again, you have to be accountable for the things that you have. If things that you have planned, if things are there on my to-do list for today, they are supposed to happen. We don't sleep with a no. Next habit, change and uncertainty. We were doing the work back in Dehradun, हमारा coupon sell करने का business that I told you, in which I was earning 500 rupees per month. After that, after working over there for 4.5 years, I started getting some good opportunities. I could have done, more things over there, but by then I had figured out कि नहीं यार, the bigger outcome, the bigger potential is there in the online world. And I made a switch from the offline business to the online business after working over there for 4.5 years. The biggest lie that you can tell to yourself, the biggest problem that people have, a lot of people have, is when they say something like this, that we have always done it this way. And when you say something like this to yourself, you're doing yourself a massive disfavor, because things are changing all the time. Things, they keep on changing. Today, the things that you're seeing did not even exist a few years ago, and you have to consistently adopt. Now, before I end my talk, I want to share with you a very beautiful mind hack, a very beautiful life hack that I implemented in my life, जिसकी वजह से मेरी लाइफ में एक बहुत बड़ा चेंज आया था. And the same thing I would say for you to implement. So basically, it was around 6 years ago when I imagined myself that who do I want to become, let's suppose in 10 years later time. And the person whom I imagined, think about it, I'm imagining a Saurabh Bhatnagar, how the Saurabh Bhatnagar will be after 10 years. And I imagine that how this version of Saurabh Bhatnagar is going to talk, how this version of Saurabh Bhatnagar is going to react to the situation, how this version of Saurabh Bhatnagar is going to walk, कैसे वो अपने decisions लेगा, कैसे वो अपने आप को आगे लेके जाएगा लाइफ में. And from that day onwards, from that 6 years earlier version myself, I started reacting the same way. I started walking and talking in the same way. Although at that particular point of time, I did not have the results जो मेरे पे आज हैं. लेकिन all my close associates were able to see that change in myself, in my personality, in the way I talked, in the way I reacted, in the way I did things. And that has actually made me become what I am today. ऑनेस्टली, अगर आज मेरे को ये अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलती है कि मैं अपने उस 6 साल पुराने वर्जन से बात कर सकूं, तो मैं उसको यही चीज़ें बोलूँगा कि बॉस, अपने माइंड को शेप अप करने के लिए इम्प्लीमेंट ऑन दीज 2 बिलीफ हैक्स. नंबर 1, 40% रूल. नंबर 2, अपने लिए एक रिवॉर्ड सिस्टम क्रिएट करना. एंड देन ऑन टॉप ऑफ इट, क्रिएट अ सेट ऑफ हैबिट्स फॉर योर सेल्फ दैट्स गोना टेक यू टू द नेक्स्ट लेवल. एंड ऑनेस्टली, from earning 500 rupees per month for 4 years to this journey of mine, exactly ये करने के लिए मैंने खुद ये लाइफ जी है. And this is the same thing that I'm asking you to do. And honestly, if I was able to do all these things and was able to become what I have done because of these things, if I can do it, you can do it.